What's up, guys? B Green Flex here, voice of Flex, back again with another video. Hopefully y'all checked out the last one, talking about the dang OF girl that left her pilot boyfriend. It actually is the best one view-wise that I've had since making the return on the channel from a year ago. Because last year I had a bunch of videos getting over 1,000. One had like 4K, but recently they only been getting like 10 to 20. But that one, it actually just broke 100 yesterday. So appreciate y'all on that. In light of that one being kind of red pill ragey and just kind of freaking out a little bit, I figured we'd do this one today. It's another Fresh and Fit clip, which I think the next one I'll try and do a different channel or a different type of, podcast, whatever. But just in general, I think this one will be a little bit lighter because I actually think I tuned into part of this when it was live, but not this specific piece. But this is just a short clip. It's only 3.5 minutes. And I think the context of it is they were talking about how music and media and stuff like that has kind of been portraying softer, weaker men over the last 20, 30 years, even longer than that, since the whole feminist movement has came about. And how, because of that, it now has transcended into society, which of course was the goal. But, before, back then, in music and in movies and stuff like that, men were masculine, they were stoic, they were strong, they were not aggressive, but were when they needed to be, just very toxically masculine, if you might say. And now in music and in media and movies, TV shows and stuff like that, the main male figures are always weak and emotional and weak mentally and physically, and don't know how to control themselves, don't know how to articulate themselves, don't know how to maneuver issues and problems, that always end up having some type of female figure that saves the day or whatever the case may be. So all that to say, this one is when masculinity officially started being attacked. And I think they're watching some type of music video or something, but let's see what we got. And again, as always, if you take anything from this, make sure to like and subscribe. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. And let's get into it.
But I think the 90s is like when it really became really socially acceptable.
I'm still giving it to 90s. I'm just talking to the people that would give that rebuttal that
and
it was 80s.
Also, it started to hit television. That's why I make the argument that the feminization of men began in the 90s.
Yep.
Because it started to hit television. Friends came out when? In the 90s. Family Matters came out when? In the 90s.
Yep.
Right? Where women started taking on the traditional, started taking on masculine roles in the household.
Yep.
It started with 90s sitcoms. You know what I mean? So people could say, oh, Myron, actually started earlier. I think in general, not just the music, with television and everything else. Thank you.
Hey, that's a flex. That's a flex. That's Angie. I'm pretty sure that's her. Yeah, that's her. But first off, she's bringing him the food. It looks like some chicken and rice or something. So a good bodybuilding meal, you know what I'm saying? But it's such a flex. Like, man, sitting here doing his podcast, he's got his viewers trying to promote, good things, spread positivity. And he got his girl sitting here, which first off, Angie's bad as hell. But got his girl sitting here bringing him food while he's doing the podcast. So, that's every woman's or every man's dream. Like, you want to be doing your thing, focus on your business, your career, things that you want to develop and stuff like that. And you got your girl that is just supporting you and nurturing you throughout the whole process and not giving you a headache, but is bringing you food. You know what I'm saying? So hats off to Myron. And also a little side note, if you ever watch Sneeko streams when Myron goes on there, a lot of the times when he goes over, Angie's with him, and it's usually like super late because it's after they do an after hours or whatever the case may be, and Angie's with them, and she just lets them do their thing on Sneeko stream, do their reactions, do their videos and all that kind of stuff, and she's just in the back chilling. Like, if they need something to drink, she gets them drinks, snacks, food, whatever. And like, I think it's just really important for a woman to understand her femininity and how important it is to supporting a man, and how like that's actually what men want besides just beauty and stuff. The underlying layer, that's the thing that they don't understand, is the beauty's first, but then also these are the qualities that help you keep a man. So done ranting, but I just want to say that's a subtle flex because I actually have a woman like that is kind of one of my main ones, but she does that for me. I literally will sit here and stream video gaming or sit here and make these videos for y'all and shit, and she'll just be sitting here, and will order me food, will make me food, will make me a drink, will fucking bring me, so gotta just have it when you got it, you know what I'm saying? So hats off to you, Myron, and let's get back to it.
With television, everything else, it began with with the feminization of men began wholeheartedly in the music, in television, in sitcoms, etc. in the 90s.
And also,
And I agree with, as you guys know, good friends Andrew Tate. I agree 1,000% that Friends was a huge catalyst to the. Are we in the shadow room?
we back up.
Okay, back in the shadow room.
Oh wait, actually, Rumble
hold on.
chat.
Okay,
Rumble chat.
we back in the shadow room.
Gotta take the Rumble chat off.
Oh, take it off, nigga.
Oh, take it off.
Yeah.
Oh,
All
the
right,
mumble
whatever.
chat's going
I
crazy.
think Friends was a huge contributor to the beginning of the end. So,
I was
ahead.
more thinking of like moments where the like not just Friends but like Family Matters, Full House, where just the idea of begging for a woman's forgiveness and
Right.
apologizing, baby, please, I'm sorry, baby, please,
Right.
please, babe, please, baby, please, where it was the cool thing to do. That's why it was an issue, and that's where the 90s came from,
Right.
because it wasn't just sitcoms, but it was back to here we are, R&B music or
Yeah.
90s music, music in the 90s.
I'll also say, touching on his thing about Family Matters, that was also one of, which I mean, kind of having that little nerd role character was always part of shows and movies and stuff, but that usually was the kid that was getting bullied or the kid that didn't get the girl. Like, it would sometimes have the girl end up hanging out with him, whatever, but 9 times out of 10, the jock was the one with the girl and stuff. And as this shift happened in cinema, usually around that 80s, 90s, is when they went from like, okay, now the nerd is actually the one getting there. Because you saw in Family Matters, he was just begging, and it kind of made, and he was the main character, so it kind of made men think it's okay to do that, even though he wasn't getting the girl. But in the end, between the transition where he had the little futuristic shit, and he went into whatever the fuck his other name was when he became the cool guy and stuff, but in the end, he didn't end up getting Laura or whatever her name was. And that shift kind of showed like, okay, you know, it's cool to be the nice guy and stuff because you do end up getting the girl, and it's cool to beg for a girl and just constantly give her attention. And then even in movies, that's when the shift started to become, yeah, the jock might have her at first, but if you just stay around and keep begging her and being there for her and showing her love and affection and stuff, in the end, you end up getting her. And to a certain extent, that's true, but it's just selling such a false hope and false dream to men because, yeah, the woman, in that situation, the woman ends up winning because she got to fuck around and be a hoe and be with all the dudes she wanted to be with that actually did attract her and whatever. But then in the end, she still was able to get with the guy that will just take her after she's done all this fucking degeneracy and will support her and love her no matter what. And in that case, she's probably still fucking those dudes that, you know, are toxically masculine and stuff. But you even see it with Logan Paul situation. Like, the dude is fucking extremely rich, worth like 50 to 100 mil, relatively good looking dude, but he picks up this chick that's older than him. Yeah, she's pretty attractive, but she's older than him, has been ran through, has been all over Hollywood and stuff. And instead of getting with an innocent feminine woman, he gets with this chick, and just everything about it is like, bro, like, you could have did so much better. And then now your value gets fucking, you know, deteriorated. Same thing with Will Smith, whatever. So, but this shift is when that kind of starts to happen, where now it's not the freaking James Bonds and the you know, the Arnold Schwarzeneggers, like those characters that were portrayed as like masculine men and stuff, Clint Eastwood and stuff like that. They were the ones getting the women back in the day, and they would save the girl and get her, and they, you know, save the day and whatever. Now it's, oh, the jock is the bad guy, don't be like him. And they over exaggerate it, and then in the end, the nice guy that was just being there for her and giving her attention forever ends up getting her, like Forrest Gump. Whatever. Yeah, the list goes on and on. But y'all get what I'm saying.
They made it cool and kind of gave an illusion that it was masculine to be like, baby, please,
Right,
baby,
to
please,
beg for it and shit.
please, baby, please.
Or like he was just talking about the music. It's like 80s and 90s is when like R&B was always kind of been a thing, but it was more like soul type, where it was just about feeling good and enjoying life and stuff. And then that's when R&B shift into actual rhythm and blues, where it was like the guy just, you know, dancing outside her fucking house and dancing in the rain and pleading for her and wanting to marry her and wife her up and stuff, and just wanting that girl and just begging her to be his and all this shit. And it's like, bro, come on, bro, get off your knees. Like,
That's why stuff like Voice of Man, even New Edition, just begging, please,
Yep.
baby, please, and they're trying to say that's like the cool thing to do.
Yep. All right. But yeah, I mean, hey, I like opinions in the chat. You guys are giving some good takes here. And again, like I said before, this is why it's great to have these types of discussion with a bunch of guys. But yeah, I would say my stance is the feminization of men definitely began before the 90s. Don't get it twisted, guys. It began before the 90s. However, I would say once it hit full tilt, mainstream feminization, I would say was the 90s, because then it invaded television, it invaded music, it invaded pop culture.
Yep.
Women were starting to enter the workforce more.
Yep.
Women were starting to go to college more. It full on started to
There was an
get its
extreme
speed
wave.
in the 90s, and then by 2000, bang! Next thing you know, we're full on feminism is here.
Because that's true. Because it was, I think after the civil rights movement was when the whole feminist movement happened, which from a societal standpoint, of course, it seemed more accepted. It's like, okay, now that black people got their thing, now let's go for the women. But from a higher up, backdoor government trying to fuck with the people and manipulate them, they knew that, okay, when we get in the workforce, that's more taxes that we can collect, and that's us being able to put the kids in more public schools and indoctrinate them. And also that means more taxes because now there's more public schools, whatever. So we know it's a whole orchestrated event. But just in general, it happened after civil rights, so 60s, 70s. And then, but at that time, technology wasn't as prevalent. So then you go to the 90s and 2000s, and that's when there was more television homes, computers started to be more regular, and that's when they started to get more advanced. So it was easier for people to use computers, and they were more accessible. Cell phones started to come out around that time. So around then is when it was able to okay, now that the message is already there and that's what people are already thinking, now we're actually able to push it and project it. And so it just completely, within 10, 20 years, it took a complete shift of traditional roles to women in the workforce, kids out of the home, women thinking that they don't need a man, women thinking that men are all trash, and that, all the stereotypical things that we hear about the feminism movement. But that's when the whole big shift happened. I agree with him that that's when it mainly happened, but I think that was more technology than just the message itself.
You know what I mean? And then it got another push in the 2010s thanks to social media.
Yep.
Because social media spread it even further. This independence and all this other crap.
Yep.
Which that will be on the top 10 episode where we talk about the top 10 songs that ruined women.
Yep. So yeah, like I said, this episode is when they were looking at the top 10 songs that, ruined masculinity. But that's extremely true, because when they're at that push with the 90s and 2000s, as far as media, movies, shows, music, and technology being more prevalent in the homes, more TVs, computers, cell phones, and stuff like that. Then when the 2010s came and social media came out with Facebook, MySpace, eventually Twitter, Instagram, and stuff like that, then they were able to then propagate it even more. It's okay, we already have the people in this mind frame. Now let's continue to just bring it home, shove it down their throats even more to just make sure that the message is fully, encrypted, so to say. Because now you look at 2023 and women still have this idea, oh, we're oppressed, we need to fight for feminism, and oh, we don't need men, and men ain't shit, and all this stuff. But it's bro, the whole idea of the feminism movement has been going on for 50, 60 years. The shit's done. But y'all still think this way because they continue to push it every 5, 10 years, revamp it. And social media they did it again. And that's what happened in the last 10 years or so. So they were able to do that next push. And it's just saddening, man, because at the end of the day, the only ones that really lose in this situation, I think now, are the women, because they have this idea that all these things can be rainbows and I can get whatever man I want when I want and all this kind of stuff. I don't need a man. And they do OnlyFans or Instagram models, or they just get a job that they think, they can just work for life and be okay. But then they end up wanting kids later in life, and biologically they can't have them. But the men get better as they age. We age like wine, and they age like milk, and it just sucks. Because now men lose in that situation too, the Sims and stuff like that. But I feel like more men are prone to the idea of, okay, dang, I actually have to, especially men as they get older and they've been through heartbreaks and went through simp stages and stuff like that. They kind of get in a situation where they're like, okay, obviously this doesn't work, because we're logical thinkers. We say, okay, this doesn't work, so what do I need to make it work with women, with my career, with stuff like that? So as they get older, not only are they making more money and usually look more mature and more attractive to women, but they also personality-wise and mentality-wise, they start to learn the traits that they need to do and the things that they need to do to attract women. Whereas women get older, they don't change their ways. If anything, they get worse because they start to go, when they go through breakups and hookups and careers and different lifestyles and stuff like that, they actually get more in their ways and more of, oh, fuck this, no accountability, because we know that the word that they're allergic to is accountability. So I think ultimately they lose. And like I said in one of these videos, we're going to see in the next 10, 15 years how that social media wave that he was just talking about and that last wave of feminism that the media pushed through social media, 5, 10 years ago, we're going to see in the next 10 to 15 years how all these, 20-year-olds and early 30-year-olds, when they're 40 and 50, we're going to see what really happens. So anyway, appreciate y'all as usual. Like I said, the last video started to get the views back popping, so I appreciate y'all very greatly. I hope you guys take something from my content at any point. Like I said, hopefully this video was a little bit different, not as not as frustrating or as angrily portrayed, but I just hope y'all know that I get this way because I care so much about y'all and about myself and just the overall masculine image in general. And I think that's where all this comes from with people like Tate, Myron, Sneeko, Fresh, all these manosphere ideas and people. I think we come from such a place of purity and such a place of, goodness that we just really want to help y'all. And if there's any information that we can give, then so be it. So again, I appreciate y'all. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video or if you took something from it. Make sure to comment what your thoughts are, what's going on with the feminism movement now. Do we think it's going to get even worse? Do we think we're at its peak and now we're going to see the downfall of it? Do you think the red pill push in space is helping to kind of neutralize it? What do you think? Just let me know. And yeah, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.